welcome back to another week, Monday, of Reaper Pro Tips, here to brighten your Monday. With me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Queen Quindy, Justin, John, and... Are you coming up? Are you coming up? Why aren't you coming up? Baba, over here. Up. Good girl. And Queen Kiki, who is trying to respect my aching thighs by not standing on them. Yeah, it's my good girl. That's my good girl. Yes, I know. But I wanted you up here. It's all right. Mwah. It's my good girl. Yeah, today I'm going to look for a groomer for Kiki. She doesn't know. She doesn't know what she's in for. They're going to put you in a truck, throw you in a tub, and wash you within an inch of your life. I want to get her groomed before, groomed by somebody other than David and me, like a real grooming before we go to Seattle, so. You're in for it, Bubba. You're in for it. You are. All right, good girl. All right, go settle now. Go settle. Oh, no woofing at me, young lady. Come on. On vacation. Nice. Hey, take it easy, Twisted Oma. Take it easy. I'm here. Okay, I am here to say that is freaking awesome that you're getting in all those steps. Just take it easy. When you've been just lying around for so long, I'm speaking here, and I walk, and you guys know I just restarted my couch to 5K just to get a little jogging in and work my way up. I had my CrossFit class on my intro on Saturday, and yesterday I was destroyed. I couldn't sit without pain. Because I was so achy. Because I was the oldest person there. I was the most out of shape person there. And I did not let that stop me, because you got to let those young whippersnappers know you're still in it. It was, okay, Zechariah, as someone who has never really done a low squat, I did probably about 50 of them. Spread out over the course of the intro, right? So, yeah, well, you gotta, right, Quindy? You gotta. I'm 51. At this point, if I do not take my life in my hands and get some freaking exercise and strength training, I'm gonna degenerate, right? It's just the way the body goes. The body is no longer on the youth track. It's now on the decline track. But if you keep yourself moving and active, you can, you don't decline. You go, more and then maybe at the end you go like that. But I want to be able to do the stuff that I love. Now that I'm finally in a life that I love, I want to be able to do the things that I love without feeling like I'm going to losing my breath so hard that my heart's going to explode, or I can't keep up with David and Kiki, right? On a reasonable hike. I'm done with that. I'm done with that crap. I am willing to go and tackle the pain and get through it, so that I can be a stronger Anne. That's just the way it's got to be. Because if I was still here in 5 years, with all my aches and pains that had started up because of inactivity, I would be so depressed. And I just don't want to be depressed. I'm finally here. I'm writing. I'm married to a man I love. I have an awesome dog. I have an awesome place to live. I live in a great place. I'm everywhere that I always wanted to be in my life. Going to the places I want to go. And I just can't just drop the physical part. I can't. I just got to do it. It's going to hurt. But I really like the trainer. I got to say, I really, really like him. He's my age, actually, except super ultra fit. His wife runs ultra marathons. She's insane. Yeah. Well, then you can do other stuff, right, though? It's I know a lot of people already have had surgeries and stuff that prevents you from, moving in particular ways. It's I have a lousy back. I warned him right away. I'm sit-ups are just out. Anything like a sit-up. Anything that involves me getting up off the floor using only my back and abs is out. But he taught me how to do a kettlebell thing and there was no back pain. And it's well, damn. So there's always stuff. It's proved to me. There's always stuff you can do. You just have to kind of figure out, in my case, work with somebody who has a clue. But yeah, he's cool. He makes 80s jokes, so I'm all in it. And he also, knowing that I was the least fit person, because I told him straight up where I was, and he was I really appreciate that, and he scaled everything to me. So although it was a hard workout, it was not really an Anne breaking workout. He's I'm not in it to break you, I want you to get stronger. So I like his attitude, and he's really cool. Yeah, but I was scared of kettlebells, Dogfather, and squats because of my back damage. But he just had to teach me how to do them right? So I didn't hurt myself. Like, it really was important. So, oh, you nearly cried, but you made it. Good, Kerniko. Good for you. Yeah. Right, yeah, there's always going to be some stuff we can't do, right? And there are still, like I said, I can't do sit-ups or anything like it. Like, not going to work, not going to happen ever, as far as I know. Unless my physical therapist looks at me and says, okay. But there's still things I can do to get in shape, and so I'm doing those things. Because it's like, yeah. Oh, yeah, sure, because you're just starting. Yeah, for sure, Twisted Oma. But that's really great. It's like, it's awesome that you're doing that. I'm so glad that you can. Because, yeah, I worry about you. So, yeah, good for you walking. Obviously, you guys need to get a beach house. Like, that's the next step, right? You were just saying you wanted to sell your house in Texas, so you need a beach house. That's what you need. So you can walk on next to the cool ocean all the time. But yeah. Yeah, stairs do suck, but they can work. Yeah, he is a really cool coach, Sakurai. I read a lot of entries here. Let's go to the mini so I can talk and paint at the same time. We're gonna do skin today. I'm probably gonna do a mixture of youthful and tan skin on her, I think. I want a warm skin tone that's a little clearer than tan skin. And I do want it on the orange side because we're working with blue. So yeah. But yeah, his name's Tim. I read a lot of, both arteries. Eek. Yikes, Turgeon, yikes. But you have to, like, stick around, Turgeon. Like, you know, you can't keep, like, I guess if you have to keep replacing parts, but you're my biggest fan. What would I do without you? I need somebody to be excited when a new book comes out. Yeah, I aimed for 6,000, Crawley, because I knew that 10,000 was hard for me to get in, to fit in my day back when I was at Reaper. So I went down to 6K, and I've hit that now for every day this month. Like, even, you know, because stuff gets in the way, right? But yeah. Steps are like the first step, I think. Like that's the first step of getting like fit, is just making yourself move more. And even if it's just cleaning the house, if you get your 6,000 steps and then maybe you up it to 7,000, to get to 10K, I can't even get to 10K. I can get to 9 if I do my full 2 walks a day and maybe have a little bit of activity in between. So if I want to hit my 9K, I have to do that. If I want 8K, I can usually hit that with my 2 walks. And some days I do get 10K, and that's cool. That's awesome, Tistodoma. I know you've been looking forward to a trip for a long time, so that is really cool. I hope you're having a great time. It sounds like you are. I'm going to do 4 drops of tan skin because I do want this to be a little darker. And I'm going to start with just 1 drop of Youthful Flesh mixed in. Then we're going to switch that ratio as we go, and we're going to use more Youthful Flesh for highlight. You can see it's lighter, right? So we'll use more Youthful Flesh as we go. Sure, Crowley. Yeah, that's really smart, Hamster. That's really smart, Carly. Like, anything helps, right? Yeah, I heard about the heat wave. And the storms. Some weird weather. But yeah, so just, I mean, any activity is good. I was at the point where I used to do strength training. I used to, actually in high school, I really liked it. Our instructor believed, and I am always thankful to him for this, and he didn't stay like long, like in our high school, but the gym instructor that I had when I was a freshman really believed that not only did women, like, you know, could they go and do weights in a weight room, they belonged there. Like, he was like, it is important for you to do this. And so everybody moaned about it. It was the 80s, right? Like, it was not considered, like, you know, a feminine thing to do at that time. I love talking about the 80s like it was the Dark Ages, by the way. I like this new trend. But yeah, like, and without him, I don't think I ever would have given it a real shot, and I don't think I would, and I remember just enjoying it. I really enjoyed it. So, yeah, definitely Shadow Raven. Get your AC online. Yeah, I bet. Because it looked like everything, because Texas is right in the middle of that heat wave. So stay safe there, Zachariah. 80s for the dark. I was born before you, Shadow Raven. But, well, see, now I'm looking at this color and I'm like, I think I need to darken it. Because the Youthful Flesh lightened it enough that I'm seeing too many. Look at how close to the peach it is, or the tan, the cream. So that's not going to work. Okay, well, now we get to see what we can do. What are we going to do? What can I do? Now I'm thinking, okay, if going orange is going to run us too close to the cream, then I have to consider a rosier skin tone. I have to consider going that way instead. Oh, nice. That's great, Quindy. That's progress. Wow. Yeah, good. That's really cool. Hey, congrats, Quistodoma. 53. That's super awesome. Yeah, and isn't that stupid, Pendrake? That's just I mean, it's just, and the problem is that when you start as a kid being surrounded by that attitude that you shouldn't do it, you can't do it, it's not for you, you hang on to that your whole life unless you're really self-aware and you try to work around it. I'm going to grab Rosy Shadow, guys. I'm going to try to do a mix. I'm going to actually start with Rosy Shadow, and I'm not going to give up on my other mixture, but I'm going to mix a bit of it into the Rosy Shadow and see what I get. And this is just an example. Like, all of the MSP skin tones mix together really well. And so you can use that and tune them. Use that to tune them. And make them go whichever way you need them to go. So... But yeah, with me, I was just like, my cardio fitness was okay, but, you know, just strength training is all about, like, you know, making sure your ankles are, you know, actually flexible, and, like, you know, the strength training you do helps everything else. So I still felt like, and I was attracted to interval training because it means you can get a lot of results in a fairly short period of time. So I thought I was fit enough to give it a shot. All right, our Rosy Shadow. Oh, nice. Right, because you actually, that's the weird thing about heart rates, right? Is just that if you're fit, your heart rate shouldn't go up unless you're super pushing yourself. Like last time I was doing couch to 5K, it got to the point where my heart rate just wouldn't go above like 134, 138. And I was 10 years younger, more than 10 years younger at that point. Oh, about 10 years actually. All right, so we're going to try this mix of Rosy with a bit of this orangey stuff in it. I'm going to do a reverse mix too. I'm going to put some of my rosy skin into that golden skin. Now this mixture, actually, I've got to say, this tan skin plus youthful mixture actually looks like a really good start to an Asian skin tone for me. So if you were looking for an alternative to golden skin, you might try it. It is 4 drops of tan skin, 1 drop of peachy skin. Oh wow, that's really dumb, Hendrik, because weight training's been shown to actually increase athletic performance in like things like football and stuff. Almost everything, actually. But yeah, I I needed strength training. I knew that as you get older, they say you should do 2 days of it. And I also was interested in intervals because I wanted to get maximum turnaround for the shortest amount of time because you guys know how busy I am. So we're going to start with this rosy-ish skin tone and see what we can do. We might need to darken it down. We'll see. We'll have to pick carefully if we go to do a shadow for it. This is the trick with the problem here is just that we're putting the skin tone right next to this white, right? And here we don't have a gold border. So it's going to be very close. Whereas here on the collar, we've got a border, and down here we've got blue, so it doesn't matter. But what we might end up wanting to do here is to paint a gold border on this sleeve to separate the hand from the sleeve because the skin tone and the sleeve are both very pale. So, and sometimes you look at the paint in your palette with skin tones, it's an odd thing, but you'll look at the paint in your palette and say, oh, that's pretty dark. And then you put it on the model and suddenly it looks really light. And it just works that way. It's just the comparison of having it in your palette, which maybe is white or a white sheet of paper in a wet palette. Then you put it on a model that has darker tones and you really see how light it is. Yeah, I coulda. But here and now, I'm just like, I want the skin done. So yeah, yes, though, for if you don't have great brush control, and I may regret not painting this in here, but I should be able to really get in here. I should be able to get in here with the brush. There's enough room. But yeah, I just didn't decide what color that I wanted that to be yet. If I'm doing an accent color on this model, it's probably going to be the accent color. Otherwise, it'll go blue or something like that. So... But yes, it would be. Would it be smart? Yes, it would be smart to do that. Did I do it? No. But yeah, so I decided to actually sign up and become a member at this CrossFit gym, even though it is not like cheap. I'm gonna have to cancel a couple of other things to afford it. But it's I had to kind of give myself a talking to because I was whining in my head. I was whinging about how expensive it was and how can I just afford to blow all this money per month, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you are a dork. This is an investment in your entire future and your length of life. Like, is that not worth that money to you? Like, you know, in 30 years, if you look back and you're like, if I would have paid $180 a month, I would be in so much better shape right now and maybe live to be 100 like I always wanted to, in really good shape. And, so I had to have a talking to myself because sometimes, you know, especially if money's tight, I just whine at every expense, but some expenses are worth it for me. And so I'm just going to cancel. I'll cancel a Patreon I do that actually, admittedly, I have not gotten the full value out of because I just don't have the time for it. It's a structured program to help with writing, but the more I'm in it, the more I'm just like, if I haven't made the time to do the framework, it's not worth staying on the Patreon. It's not like I can't re-sign up at some point. It's a pretty expensive Patreon too, so it will help. But yeah, so I'm going to give it a try. I decided I'd give it a try for a couple months. Because when I tried it, it was like, I didn't dislike it or like it. Like, I just did it. But I'm interested to see if I like it over time. I'm kind of in the school these days that says that you should try it more than once if you didn't hate it and it's good for you, you should try it more than once. So, a little bit of skin color on the book there. So I decided to give it 2 months, which is kind of what they say you should do to any diet or workout program. And see how I like it in 2 months. Because I won't be this sore forever. So, and they do a lot of different stuff too. Like I was like kind of sad because like they apparently were doing jumping rope on Monday. That was their cardio. And I was like, oh, I like jump rope and I haven't done it for ages. So maybe, you know, the fact that it's different every day. And I'm only doing 2 days a week. Because that's what I'm supposed to do, dang it. So we'll see. We'll see how broken I am on Wednesday. Aw. Yeah, I have a few. Like, there's There's a comic, an online comic artist that I really like, and I just toss her money, $3 a month to support her because I really have enjoyed her comic. And then I've got Amanda Palmer, indie musician and activist, Neil Gaiman's wife, soon to be ex-wife. Apparently they're separating, but still cordial. But yeah, I think she got a little bit overdone during the pandemic, but it obviously hit her really hard, and she was kind of trapped in New Zealand with her son alone during that. So because New Zealand had that crazy like lockdown forever. But yeah, I like her thoughts on like art and stress and creativity and all that kind of thing. And then I have Rhonda. And I think, and I have two writer Patreons, and I'm going to drop one. Because one I get more value out of. Yeah, football and American football. Yep. All right, so I'm going to do the leg. I've got hands, and I'll do the face. So yeah, now that I've done this Peachy Flesh plus tanned mix and seen how Asian it looks, I think I might have to use it. It's a good combo. And it's a little more complicated, more complex of a mix, which I like, than the Asian skin is very straightforward mix. But yeah, so I have to, it was the weekend, so he wasn't in the office, but I need to sign up and pay for my first month. And it's on a month-by-month basis, the CrossFit thing. So that's nice. Like, I can cancel. As long as I give him 10-day notice before the end of the month, I can cancel at any time. He's got my kind of attitude where he's like, if you don't want to be here, then I'm not going to pressure you to be here. Like, I want you to want to be here. And that's it. He wasn't a pressure seller at all, or I would have walked out. And so pretty much this guy is like a coach after my own heart. So I don't think I could do better. I think I chose the right one. I read a lot of reviews. This is also the gym with the 60 plus class, so I knew that he was used to scaling for people who are older. But yeah, one of my writing Patreons is very expensive relatively, and much as I like the person I'm supporting, she's actually one of the founders of the Alliance of Independent Authors. She has a very structured approach, and I like structure, but I don't know if it's quite for me. So I think I'm gonna just dump it this month, and maybe I'll come back to it at some point. She does a lot of mindset stuff, which I like because I think it's important, but at the same time, I don't know if I need it right now. I think I'm actually doing pretty good right now with my writer mindset. So we're just putting on one coat and we're putting on another coat. Skin tones sometimes cover well and sometimes don't. It's kind of touch and go with skin tones. Because although they do have white in them, sometimes the medium skin tones don't have as much white. So they can take a couple of coats if they're thinned. They can take a couple of coats to cover. And we don't care back here if we paint over the hair a bit. We don't even care if we paint over the collar a bit because we've only base coated it. This head tilt thing is hard though to reach in here. That's the one part that's complex, I think, and hard to hit on this model. The ear. So obviously, yeah, I can see a little bit of the gray through it, so I'm going to have to put another coat on. I'll need to put another coat of the leg on the leg too. The hand, it has a solid coat on it. But we can see now that the addition of the rosy tone to that made a huge difference. We can now see that the skin is separate from the cream, and that's super important. So I probably will double down on that reddish tone in the shadows then. Cool. I still haven't entirely... Originally I was thinking blonde, but I haven't decided. I might go crazy with her hair color. I don't know. I need to figure out an accent color. I need to figure out what I'm doing. Like red is the obvious choice. Orange wouldn't be a great one because the skin tone and the cream is too close. Likewise, yellow would be a bad... Well, yeah, yellow would be a bad choice because it's so light. So color composition talk. Color composition talk here. Because our skin tone is light and because we've gone with a cream, what we really need on this model is darks. So essentially, when I look at her, I've got to really look at what I'm going to make dark, right? I'm almost out of room. Like I have to almost go dark with the leather at this point because otherwise I don't have a lot of dark. If I had dropped the blue to a darker blue, I'd have more room in the mid. But because it's kind of I'm bringing it up a bit, it's going to be more of a mid blue. It means that really what we're feeling here is darks. And a lot of the time, this is what I see on models, and even like intermediate painters, they'll all have like a middle this, a middle that, and a middle that. They won't have any cream or black or light blue or dark brown. They won't go to either range. And your model is going to look so much better if you have a range of lights and darks on it. Things are going to stand out a lot better. So only if I have to. That's not it's not an accent. I was kind of keeping this Pendrake to be an accent. Like if I go red with the accent, like if I make her hair a really dark red, I will also go dark red down here. So even though the boot's probably going to be black, and so we'll have a dark next to a dark, but sometimes you just got no choice there. If it's a little bit and they're different colors, you can get away with a light next to a light and a dark next to a dark. And as I mentioned earlier, there are also things you can do to separate them, like up here painting the little gold band around the wrist, which I probably will do. And down here, I'll probably punch the highlights and make the highlights a different color on the boot than the dark back here. So you could go blue liner. It would I'd probably highlight it at that point with the Hobgoblin blue, because it would just be like a darker interior version of the same color. So I would want that to kind of like look that way. So yeah, you could totally go with the blue liner. It would just mean that your model was much more color boring, I guess. When you've got one strong color, which is blue, and everything else is, the skin tone is a neutral, the cream is a neutral, it's a light neutral, but it's a neutral. So you're stuck here with and the gold so far, though it will go yellow, is a neutral. So we've got all neutrals and one strong color. So when you when you take just a different version of that color, then you're pretty much analogous color scheme at that point. If you've only got neutrals and one color. I don't like doing that, Pendrake. I think it looks weird. I think it looks strange, and I don't think it looks very good, in my opinion. I know that it's a thing, fashion-wise, and you could probably get away with it on this model because she is wearing a pretty fancy robe. But I've never liked it. I find it hard. Hello, Slabafo? I don't know. I don't want to call you Slob though, so I'll call you Slaba. But hi. We were just talking about color composition on this model. But yeah, I mean, could I? Yeah. I just don't like the look very much. Especially on 28 Pendrake. I feel like on a bigger model, I could maybe show that the color would be like the same as like the lining, the inner lining of the boot, because I've seen that, right? When you fold over the boot, say there's a cloth lining and the cloth lining shows when you fold it over. I feel like you could show that better on a bigger model. I feel like it's a lot harder on a 28, and yeah, unless I can show what I'm doing, it just looks funny to me. It really looks funny. Plus, if you look at these, I mean, if you're looking for an accent color, honestly, this is the better accent. Like, because that lets you be consistent here. And this is a shadowy area. So you can, because you don't want your accent color to be really big and bold down here, or it's going to pull the eye, right? So going with something that's in the shadow so you can darken it down makes a little more sense, especially if I go for a red, which is my most likely color at this point that I would go with for an accent here. I could also go for a reddish purple, which I'm considering. Hey, Daffodwear. Yes, the chat is talking about football versus soccer, or football versus American football, however you want to talk about it. And I have been talking about the fact that my CrossFit class murdered me. My first CrossFit class murdered me this weekend. And yet I'm going to go back. Because glutton for punishment. So you can see some of the gray plastic still through that. You can see this is on as a contrast. This is 2 coats. So I'm going to do 1 more coat. Oh yeah, that's true. We can multi-talk at that point. It's not even multitasking. But yeah, the thing I like about the CrossFit thing, and the thing that makes me want to stick with it, is that it should help with everything else. Like, it's about making you more functional as a human being. So that the things that you need to do in day-to-day life, like bending over and getting something off the floor and, et cetera, are all easier for you. And as you get older, that's no joke. I can still get up off the floor, but I have to say oof when I do it, and that was annoying to me. So yeah, I'm going to give it a shot, folks. I'm going to give it a chance and see how I feel. And if I feel good, I'm going to stick with it for as long as I can financially. I told David he's got a 1 decade grace period. I will let him be a potato for the next decade of his life. But when he hits 50, it's all over. I'm like, you are going to get off your butt and do stuff with me at that point. If you do not if you do not decide to do stuff sooner than that. I'm like, I'll give you a grace period, but I'm not going to let you let yourself go to hell. Essentially. It's going to be a come to Jesus meeting. So he's been warned. Oh yeah, a lot of money and resources. Yeah, stadiums are expensive. All right, so we've got these little fingers in, and then I've got to do a little bit of touch up on the leg here, I think. So the other sad thing that happened, other than, CrossFit completely making it agony for me to move my legs yesterday, was that my 40K didn't show up. So however they mailed it, the mail carrier was not a Sunday active mail carrier. And I did not get my Warhammer 40K, which, is probably a good thing, Turgeon, because I did write 4,200 words yesterday because I didn't have my Tyranids to distract me. No nids. And I finished the finale of my second book. Today, I just have to write the wrap-up scenes and the denouement. And I'm done. Book 2, complete. Absolutely complete. Rewrite complete. And most of the last quarter of the book was a raw rewrite. So, yeah. Oh, congrats on your base boss Corsair. So yeah, so no NIDS, but lots of writing, and the book finishes today. Like, the book is gonna be done today. Usually Mondays are actually my Patreon day. Because I like to get my Patreon responsibilities done for the week and then work on the book. But this week is a different week. Because 1 week from today, this book has to be at my first editor. And it has to, in that time, not only does it have to be done, but I need to set it down for a couple days and then pick it back up and do a complete edit through before I get it to him. Otherwise, I'm going to feel like I'm giving him a Frankenstein. And that would be a waste of money. Curtico. No editing and proofreading, because my proofreader is going to take a month at it, because it's David's mom offered to proofread for me, and she did a really good job on the first book. And it's not her genre. So actually, it's kind of cool. I kind of like having a proofreader that doesn't normally read my genre, because then they're not going to ever give you suggestions on plot or anything else. They're just going to take it as it is and give you the pure mechanical problems. I just need Justin telling you you're almost done, and then it just takes an hour and a half. Well, this is all experimental, right? Like, this is, I was definitely shooting for the deadline. I did hit it, but I'm going to hit it a day late. So this tells me, okay, in the future, because I've always been, humans in general, but me especially, have always been terrible at guessing the amount of time that anything is going to take me. The only thing that has ever made me actually execute perfectly is National Novel Writing Month, where I have actually won 5 times. I've actually finished 50,000 words in 30 days. So I know I can do that, right? If I sacrifice my life to do it. But I've never, this book's gonna be 140,000 words. It took a while. It was a bit. It was a lot. Bye, Corsair. Thanks. Yeah, I'll give the official blow my little party whistle later in the day when I finally write the denouement and then my author's note. I'm looking forward to my author's note. I actually really enjoy writing the author's note. And when I was a kid, I loved reading author's notes. When I got to the back of the book and there was an author's note and not just a bunch of list of thank yous, I was like, ooh, author's note. I was always so happy about it. I liked to hear what the authors were thinking about the work and where they were going with it and stuff like that. And whether they'd had any trials or tribulations with the book. And when the next book was coming. Or what if the next book was coming. Alright, so there we go. So I like to get a nice solid skin base coat. Then we're going to be... Right, Kodiak, right. Yeah, it is, yeah, it's a thing. It's a human thing. We just don't, because our brains like to live in the present, and the present is our most happy place. Although plenty of us dwell in the past as well, which makes us, again, procrastinate, right? But yeah, because of that, we just our brains have a really hard time. We have to really pay attention and track things and get an idea and have proof before us of X takes me X amount of time, right? So for this book, it's actually pretty cool that I did manage to finish it within range. But what it tells me is next time I set a deadline, I should set that deadline, but then actually set the deadline to be a week out from that. But really put pressure on myself to get it done by the deadline I set. But I should leave a little wiggle room because I am actually sweating it with getting this full edit in on this before I hand it off to the editor. So I think I'm going to have to squish my Patreon stuff in this month and just run for it. I would have liked to have the time to put the book down for a week and then come back to it. I think it would have had fresher eyes, but it is what it is. Yeah. So, and then moving into the next book, North of the Wind, I have no idea, right? How fast am I going to be able to write this? I need to sit down and do a week of plotting on it. Just free writing to get it all set out in my head. Cause I've got the basic idea of it. I know who the characters are. I know what the story is. I know what the conflict is. And I know a few little extra special things that happen, and scenes that I want. But I need like, there's big gaps. And I'm learning that I like to mind map. I don't do an outline per se, but I mind map. If I have a mind map, then I can work from that. So this will be fun. And I think what I'm going to do is not put... I have the ability to put the first chapter of North of the Wind into the back of West of the Moon. But I think what I'm going to do instead is put it up on my website and direct people to it. Because I want my website to become a resource. And so people going there is a good thing. And probably there will be some time spent writing some new stuff for the website now that I'm done with West of the Moon. Now I have a little breathing room, depending on how long North of the Wind takes me. Okay. But yeah, this is a long book. Like, originally when I wrote these two books, my gut told me that the whole story would be about 250,000 words. Like, after I'd written the first one, I'm like, I'm heading for a 250,000 word book. So I stopped, turned it into two books with a lot of work. And now here we are. Book one was 110 words, but this book's 140. So it looks like I came in about right. Yeah, tell the captain it will take twice as long, so you look like a hero when you repair the warp drive in less than 48 hours. Yes. Exactly. So that's why I'm leaving myself this huge long, because, let's face it, North of the Wind's probably not going to be out for another 6 months. I don't want to... I need my writing to be sustainable. I need to feel relaxed, and I need to feel... I need to not stress over it. And so I have to leave myself a generous window of time. If I finish it early and bust that record, then great. But I don't want expectations to be built that I can get a book out in like 4 or 5 months all the time. Because I don't know that I can. And I don't want to disappoint you guys. So I'm going to be working on it slowly but steadily. And yeah, I'm going to plan on a 6-month turnaround for these. The Bear Kings books are harder than the other series that I'm planning to start. The cozy fantasy about the girl who inherits a castle. It's just like, because it's a big world. It's a very epic fantasy world. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters. You guys haven't seen most of them. And they aren't going to be epic fantasy like Gurm or Brandon Sanderson, where you've got a huge cast of characters to keep track of. But it is a more epic fantasy series, and so there is a lot for me to keep track of, and so it does take more effort, especially as we progress. It's going to take more effort to write these books. More brain power. Whereas my little cozy fantasy series, I can't wait to start it. It's just going to be fun and fast. And those books are only going to be 75,000 words each, if I have my way. Maybe 80K. Those would be my break books. I really think Brandon Sanderson has it right. Like when he writes like Stormlight book, then he takes a break and writes like 2 or 3 different other books. I think that feels like sane to me when it comes down to big books, big plot lines, big worlds. I think if I tried to write too many Bear Kings books in a row, it would burn me out. And we don't want that. Glitter flinging Muppet. The image of like a blue spaghetti arms Kermit flinging purple and pink and yellow glitter everywhere just sprang into my mind, and it's had Kurinico on its name tag. Like, we need that. We need that gif. All right, cool. I love having fans. Yay, fans! I'm glad you guys like my writing. Actually, one of my old college friends just finished reading East of the Sun, and she's like, yee! And she like was with me. Like, we were on a road trip to Philadelphia from Madison one time, and I pretty much talked to her about like my books and my writing and like the stories I'd like to tell, and she was like all in. So the fact that she actually did go out and get the book and read it and really liked it, like, is really cool. And she lives now down in LA, so I really need to go down and see her. Need to hop down for a weekend and visit my friend. Because we used to play 40K together and fantasy and more time and all that. She and her then boyfriend were regulars at the game store I worked at. So we used to do all that stuff. All right, got some brown liner here. I am going to be lining around the skin. I'm gonna pop a little bit more brown liner in there. I had a big drop of water and it thinned it a little more than I want. I want a pretty strong line. Frighteningly accurate. But yeah, so I still have people like friends who I've known for years and years and years who are reading my book and liking it. So it's good. I hope they tell their friends, because you know what? We gotta build this, folks. We gotta build this. I don't need to be Germ famous, but I want to be able to like make enough money at it to at least break even, and it would be nice to make a little extra so I wouldn't have to worry about things like paying for CrossFit every month. It would be really nice. I am kind of a starving artist still, so without David I would be very much a starving artist. So we're aiming for a profitable authorship. That's what we're aiming for. And then we'll reassess our goals. But yeah, it'll be nice to have this the second book out. Like I'll be like, then that story will be complete, but the greater story of the family and the world can go on in other books, one-off books. All right, so just gonna put a dark shadow around the face. It helps the face stand out. Oh wow, yeah, that'll be odd for you, Valinar. From my experience, you either love it or hate it, or you think you hate it until they leave and then you realize that you loved it. So the eyes on this model are actually not that big. So I think the lining is important on this one. This one's a little bit buried in the hair, Bobby, but we'll deal with it. Oh, okay. Notostoma, I'm still thinking. I'm leaning toward red, either a very dark red or something even artificial like a red violet, but it depends on what I do elsewhere. So I have no goal, and I'm not really open to suggestions on this one. What I am doing is following my gut. I was thinking blonde, but the gold is going to be very yellow, so blonde is off the table, and I do not want an orangey red. Honestly, David, I make probably equal on either ebook or trade paperback. You can get it on Barnes & Noble or Amazon. I make a little more on Amazon because the Barnes & Noble gateway has to go through Ingram Spark, which then, there's like a distribution discount and yada, 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 yada. So I make a little bit more on the books on Amazon right now. But they are available. I wanted them to be available at B&N and other outlets because some people just don't like Amazon. But yeah. But the Amazon trade paperback is a nice quality book, so I'm happy with it. There we go. So block in the eyes. Like I said, they are really not that big. This is a much smaller eyeball sculpt than some of Bobby's more recent models. I'm going to line the mouth. Always line the mouth, otherwise it will never show up. Yeah, well, thank you, David. If you pick it up, I hope you enjoy it. Book 2 will be out at the end of August, right before ReaperCon. Oh, 16. Yes. I wanted to say that. I really would like to get up to 20 if I can, guys, by the time book 2 comes out. So if you've read the book and you liked it, I would love it if you would give a review, and you don't have to write. A lot of people have already written stuff, and I really appreciate that, because quality reviews are worth gold. But if you're not a writer or you're not sure what to say, just leave a star review. It still counts. It still counts. Counts toward the 20. Yeah, 20 is our new goal. Because once, when I release, leading up to the release of book 2, I'm going to be doing a heavy promotion push on book 1. And if we have 20 or more reviews, it's going to look a lot better. More people are going to pick it up. So, yeah, I think Bobby's starting to scale back out the size of the eyeballs. But yeah, so the line of the mouth here is pretty clear. If you can kind of do a bow shape for the upper lip with the brown liner. Because this model's so dark, usually I just use if I'm going to suggest an upper lip at all, I just use the liner to do so. The lower lip gets actual color. Good, Asia Marvel. Yay, no rush. No pressure at all. Just a friendly request for, if you have read it, please leave a review. It matters a lot. It matters a lot to getting people to pick up the book. But once book 1 has a decent number of reviews, then I'm feeling pretty good. Once book 2 is in shape, I will be recruiting, don't worry, Turgeon, you're already on the list, a couple of ARC readers, which is advanced reader copies, where essentially you get a free copy, an advanced copy of the book or ebook in exchange for leaving an honest review. Because I would like to get a few reviews on West of the Moon out the gate. And that's how writers do that, is they essentially have an advanced copy team who agree to read the book in like the month leading up to release, and then leave a review once the release hits. And Amazon is okay with that, as long as you specifically state that you received an advanced copy in return for your honest opinion. Or an advanced copy and we're asked to leave your honest opinion. There's specific phrasing that I will give you that you have to start your review with. All right. So a little bit of mouth here. Now she has kind of a half smile on, but the other side of it is she's almost a sardonic. Like one corner of her mouth is quirking up. So more realistic scale, Pendrake. Like, these eyes are a more realistic scale than a much more realistic scale than, well, take a look at some of the first ones. Giganto eyes person, right? Look at how more stylized and how more realized, right? Yeah. So, even, let's see. This guy has a lot larger eyes than she does. So I feel like, as far as scaling on her face, I feel like the eyes are a much more realistic size. Digital sculpts in general. Yeah, which is both, like, it's good because it keeps us from having giant eye syndrome, but at the same time, it's harder to paint, right? So, harder to get those pupils in there. So I feel like it'd be good to find a midpoint on that. But the answer is always, if you can't do like a pupil in the middle of the eye at the scale, which even I have trouble with these days, have the model looking in one direction or the other, and then you only have to have half the eye with the white and half the eye with the dark, and you're okay. I'm going to avoid putting in eyebrows, although they are sculpted on this model. And she is actually quirking this eyebrow up, by the way. So she does definitely have like a kind of expression. And now I will actually go in here and put the shadow in behind this leg. And the way to do it is actually to keep your brush away from the leg, but to kind of press the tip so that it flattens out a bit, like blook, and then shove that little tip right up behind the leg. Doo-doo-doo. So that way the body of your brush, which has paint on it, stays away from the leg itself. And if you like have to really see, you can tilt your model a little bit and do the same thing. Try to smush that tip up there. You can be gentle about it. You don't want to murder your brush's tip, but it lets you come in. And this is wide enough, too, to come in at that angle and get behind the leg. So that's why I wasn't too worried about this, about not painting the leg first, is because I knew that I had enough room to pull that trick. So now I've got pretty good. I need to get a little bit back here. There. So yeah, I'm hoping my 40K comes today, although it also, if it doesn't come today, I guess I don't have to worry about distractions while I'm working on finishing up the book. Writing my last scenes, the last scenes that give closure. Closure. So many scenes. And this is the thing, I was talking to David about this the other day, yesterday actually, about this is where all of the like dangly ends, all the real dangly ends, the immediate dangly ends, the things that I promised in the beginning have to be tied up. So it's like I've got this list of scenes I have to write. I feel like I'm at the end of the Lord of the Rings movie, where you've got all these little ends that you have to tie up. I do not, Pendrake, they did not give me a tracking number, and they did not give me a shipping notification. And I don't know, or it went to spam, and I just haven't seen it. I've never really gotten, I think when I ordered, I don't remember if I got a confirmation before. I do have a confirmation number, so I can call them. I mean, they mail these things to try to arrive on the release day, but I mean, it's just a try to arrive on the release day, right? So it's more likely to show up today if it missed that weekend window. If it doesn't show up by Tuesday or Wednesday, though, then I am going to call them. Because there is always the possibility that it got misdelivered to somebody else around here, and that person just kept it. Much as I hate to say that, we have mail go awry by a couple of house numbers all the time. Yeah. Well, the printer's not going anywhere. I still have to get David. I've still got that Dragon Bust file that I want him to print for me. I think I need him to show me how to do it, because I get the feeling that, like, the 3D printer for David will be he'll be like, oh, I need these things for this project that I'm actively working on. And then he will fire up the printer and he will do those things and then he will be done. But David, I think I figured out, is not the type to just play with the printer. He's not the type to just print a bunch of stuff. Whereas I am the type to play with the printer. Richard, yeah, it just didn't arrive on Saturday, which is good because I got 4,200 words written on my book. Actually, over the entire weekend, I got more like 5,600 words written on the book. The book 2 is done, except for the tie-ups and the denouement and the author's notes. So those get done today. And then book 2 is finished, and then I let it sit for 2 or 3 days while I work on my Patreon for the month, the end of the month. And then I pick it up for the last, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I bust my butt and try to edit that sucker entire by Monday. I might contact my editor and ask if I can be a day late. But I might not need it, so. Whew. Yeah, the mail stuff. Oh, you got a shipping notice, Hutch? I did not get anything. Now I have to look at my spam folders. I'll go look. Yeah, I mean, it's better that my Tyranids weren't here to distract me, because I do want to get the novel done. Getting the novel done is, so huge. And the novel is so huge. I feel like I need to go through and make a real tight edit on it. Try to lose some words. Alrighty. I think we've got... lining the fingers. Gotta always line your fingers, folks. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I got mine from GW, and I think it's just mysteriously out there in the void. Well, maybe you should just plan one then, and then see if printing the one thing that you are most interested in makes you like gets rid of your printer itch. Zachariah. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to count it out yet because it, like I said, they always tell you up front. They're like, we're going to aim to get it to you on release day, but it doesn't always work out that way, and there's no guarantee. So I'm going to not start to panic unless it doesn't arrive by tomorrow. If I'm headed into Wednesday and I still haven't seen it, then I'm going to be like, hey, GW, did you actually ship this? Because I paid for it. There we go. I'm going to thin down my liner a little bit and put a shadow on the inside of this hand between the thumb and the fingers. There we go. To make that stand out better. Yeah, your UPS doesn't run on weekends. Mine runs on Saturday, but not on Sunday. Okay, cool, Quindy. Yeah, ours is out in our garage, Shadow Raven. We didn't have space in the house. Plus the fumes and everything, the garage seemed better. We could open up the big door, or we've got a big window in there to ventilate. All right, so you've lined those fingers. If you line the fingers, and even though 28s do tend to seem very cartoony just because of the scale, but if you line the fingers and it's just too bold for you and you don't like it, just put a glaze of the skin tone over the top. All you really need is that shadow there that's dark enough to tell the eye that these are separate fingers, so that they so that the hand doesn't just look like a glob. That's the thing. Because if you don't do any lining, the hand does look like a glob. And that's sad. There we go. So yeah, after the stream, it's Kiki walking time, and then it is lunch time, and then it is writing all the rest of the day time until I am finished. And then I feel like I need to do something special. Maybe I should just tell David I'm not cooking tonight. I'm ordering Thai food instead. Actually, that's a good idea. All your minis wear mittens. Oh no, David. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense. I might have to look at that model now. Thanks, Quindy. Yeah, I have to celebrate somehow. When you finish writing a 140,000 word book, are you not entitled to eat tasty food? You're entitled to something, and food does tend to be my reward. And I do really like the pork basil and the red curry at our local Thai place. No, David's not as into sushi as I am. I could eat sushi every week, multiple times a week. David could not. So I'd rather get, and I don't so since I normally cook for both of us, or he cooks for both of us. I made a tri-tip last night, you guys, in cast iron, not on the grill. It worked out really well. It got a really good crust. Just wanted to say, totally switching food thing. But yeah, David isn't as into sushi, and so to feed him as well, I would go for the Thai food. We haven't had it in a while, and I really like it. Doing a bit of a shadow underneath her chin as well. Right by the hair here. Nice. Yeah, they had some really nice looking tuna at my favorite grocery store the other day. I was tempted, but... Uh-oh, I got a little bit... There's a little bit of flashing under her chin. I just saw it, because it only shows up from this one angle. And I totally get the knife in there. Sometimes, when you've just got a base coat, just do it. Don't be afraid. I almost got it off. Especially when it's on the underside of a surface. There it is. Perfect. Yeah, it was a burgundy wine and peppercorn marinated tri-tip. It was actually quite tasty. And then, yeah, I got a really, really nice crust on it. David actually, it's weird. He didn't like flat iron steak. Like those, I always think of like flat iron and tri-tip as Texas things because it was the first place I encountered them. And he tried the flat iron and he actually did not like it as much. He would rather just have a good flank steak. Because it was like fajita and yet not like fajita, you know? And he's like, this is like weird cross between flank steak and regular steak, and I would rather have either a regular steak or a flank steak. And fair. But yeah, he did like the tri-tip though. I did it to medium rare. It went a little closer to medium. I'm gonna pull it a little earlier next time, but. And I used I finally got an in-oven probe thermometer, and used that for the first time too, so that was nice. Getting a sense for how that works. All right, I think I've lined all the way around that. I got that. We fixed that. I need to go in under that chin with a little more skin tone. But yeah, I cooked even though I was also writing like crazy yesterday. So I feel like, you know, I could just totally... Because I have another thing I want to make, but it involves prep, and today is not a good prep day. Today is a try to get 5,000 words written day. Probably not quite that many, but I mean, you never know. Once I get down to writing these scenes, they might be like, nope, I'm going to be a long scene. I'm going to have stuff happening. You're going to have to, like, write me longer. The characters will say, no, we need to say this. Yes, you deserve cake. If you finished an army, you deserve cake. Or whatever your little heart desires. You don't deserve cake every day for a week, which is the problem with cake, right? You get it, and then you have to eat it. But you do deserve some cake. At least. Yes, this will be the longest book I have officially finished. When I do the end today, it's definitely, since even when it was bloated before I cut it back, East of the Sun was at 100 and, I want to say it was around 120, 125,000. And then I cut it back to 90,000, which was painful. And then it grew up to 110. Ice cream cake. I haven't had ice cream cake since I was a kid. Oh, I forgot to line here. And then we'll try to figure out what our shading color is going to be. Oh, I hear Clicky Paws. Hey, Miss Clicky Paws, it's not quite time yet. Are you going to settle back here on my rug? Okay. No digging, though. Alrighty. Gotta get shading underneath here. Technically I need shading around this ear. It's really difficult though. So we're gonna just try it. Just try to get the hair, really the sides of the hair around that ear. There's very little room here. Good enough. Yeah, no. Last minute character is not going to happen. At that point, you're in another rewrite. When you get to the end of the book and realize that you really need either to lose a character. It's more common though, Turgeon, to need to lose a character. Yes, it was a sneaky Kiki. Sneaky Kiki, what you doing? Sneaky Kiki. Hi. Hi, Sneaky Kiki. Oh, you were summoned. Oh, summoned. The giant dog is in my face. It's hard to paint with a giant dog in your face. I'm seeing you very close because I've got my reading glasses on. You have silly eyebrows that are curly. Her eyebrow hairs are curly, just like her coat. It's really funny. Yep. Yes, Kiki, you're a good girl. But you know what? It's not time to walk yet. It's not time. It's not time. Here, hugs. Hugs. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, I'm getting the lean, the scritchy lean. Oh, she likes hugs. My dog likes hugs. It's really weird. Yeah, you like the hug, don't you? Oh, look at her. Can you see that she's leaning against me? It's so funny. Oh, it's a good girl. Oh, you're such a good girl. All right. Time to get down. Can you get down? Can you get off? Good girl. Good girl. Yes, my doggy likes hugs. My puppy likes hugs. Just not usual in dogs. It doesn't come naturally to them, but she's decided she likes them. She is a sweetie. Good girl. Just got into 40K. Oh, never played before. Nice. Yeah, it is. It is. Break it down into small pieces, Hutch. Even if you whip out the airbrush to do a base coat, depending if you're doing Tyranids, airbrush base coat is really easy. Makes it faster. At least for your main color. But break it down after that. Like some people can do 10 models at once. Some people can only do 5. I personally find that I can do 3 at a time, but for me to keep motivated, it's important to feel a sense of completion fairly often, fairly frequently. And so I can't do 5s because they just take too long for me, but I can do 3s. I can do 3 at a time. So it takes me a while, but at least I get that, ooh, look at these 3 models. They're done and they look so good. And that'll motivate me to do the next 3. But yeah, batch painting is a thing, but how big your batch goes, just kind of, I would recommend starting with a smaller group and seeing how that motivates you. And if you like whip out 3 or 5 and you're like, oh, no sweat, then go up to like 7 or 10 or whatever. But be careful if you jump in and try to do 10 all at once, you can get really sloggy. And you want to enjoy it, right? You want to still be able to enjoy it. So, oh, for 3 months, yeah, 80 minis into it before, yeah, and that's what we don't want, right? So for me, I tend to build my army list at least the first 1,000 points. Then I kind of break it down as to what I want to paint, and I try to mix it up. So it's like, okay, I'll do this unit of termagants is going to be 20 or 30 models, but I'm going to mix it up. I'm just going to do the first 10, and then I'm going to do a leader model, or I'm going to do these 3 bigger models, or this 1 bigger model, right? I'll do it that way. And switching back and forth then, especially if you're used to painting singles to a good standard instead of painting armies, because if you really like to paint, like I do, I like to paint to a high standard, single models. So doing it that way lets me just kind of go, okay, I just need to blow out these 5 termagants and make them look decent, but then I can spend all this time on this Carnifex and make it look really kick-ass. So, figure out, it's all about gaming your brain, like, and figuring out what standard you're happy with to paint armies to, right? Oh, all 36. Okay. 1 color at a time. That makes sense. But it takes a while, right? You're on one color forever, and then you're on the second color forever. And if you're in a position where, like, if you're the type of painter who can sit down, like, queue up a podcast and just listen for a couple hours and just auto paint, like, that can work. You can do 36. Yeah, just watch yourself because you're a studio. Are you a studio painter? Because if you are, the burnout risk, right? So, yeah, if you the great demon burnout, that's what we're trying to avoid. So, and the damnable thing is that if you burn out on painting armies, you also somewhat burn out on painting in general, and that's the last thing we want. I speak from experience. Some people probably are different. Everybody's different. And that's why, painting big groups works for some people and not for others. But yeah, just be careful on it. Just be careful on it and just keep trucking and give yourself a treat and paint a Carnifex every once in a while. And then think about how it will murder your enemies. Nom, 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 nom. Yeah, I mean, my army painting style, I've kind of compromised Agent Marvel. What I try to do is I pick 2 colors that are really high contrast. So like my Eldar are like a kind of an opalescent white and a dark blue that's highlighted with teal and shaded with purple. So it's really gemstone like. But I can do that fairly simply and quickly on the mooks, and then I can go all out on that effect on the leaders, and that works. But yeah. The one color forever. Well, and you know what? If it gets you through it, it gets you through it, right? Because there's also the thing where some people are like, if you start doing the dragon or the army and you stop in the middle of that color and go do something else, you never want to go back to that color. So if that's your brain, then you do have to push through and just do all those models of that one color, because otherwise you won't go back. You know it, right? If you know yourself that well. So yeah, always be trying to figure out how your brain works and how what the best way of completing an army is for you. Yeah. 40 at a time is a lot. It's just, if I don't get a sense of completing something and I'm putting all this work into it, I slog down. I really bog down. As a writer, it's chapter completions, right? I complete a chapter, I feel good. So it's all like that. Yep. So yeah, it's just like anything else. It's gaming your brain. Figure out what your brain functions like, and try to figure out how to game around it. Brain hacks. Bye, Crowley. Thank you. Yeah, congrats later today. Congrats in order probably tomorrow morning. Unless I get on tomorrow morning and go, I didn't finish it. Rah! If I haven't finished it today, though, I'm in dire straits. Then I do have to actually contact my editor and ask if I can have a delay, and I really don't want to do that. Thanks, Ekra. Yes, we're almost there. The Keekster is hovering, but we've got still a few more minutes. So, alrighty, we've got lining. Oh, I forgot the back of the leg. Oh no, the back of the leg is unlined. But yeah. So yeah, I don't do, because I choose high contrast colors on my color schemes, I don't necessarily need to line then. Because by high contrast, I mean a light and a dark, usually. Or if I'm going like, my old Tyranid color scheme was very dragon-like. It was green and black. So the carapaces were black and the functional moving parts were green. I found green a very fast color to paint, so simple to highlight and shade. But the fact that the carapaces were black meant that you never needed to line because it was black. So you didn't have to worry about putting a barrier between two colors. These I'm going light blue and dark red purple, so it should be similar, but I'll probably have to do a little lining. But then my goal isn't to like paint these in a super hurry. My goal is to slowly paint these while I kind of nose around and try to find people to play with. I mean, there's gotta be geeks who are playing 40k in this area, and there's gotta be at least a few of them who aren't annoying. That's just Yeah, that makes sense, Hutch. That makes sense. Yeah, like, so you're one of those people who can just put on podcast or a YouTube queued up bunch of stuff and just go. And that's great, because there's a lot of like 40k stuff on YouTube, so you can do totally double duty and get inspired to play and excited to play by like watching 40k stuff on YouTube. Not excited about army painting. That was me for many years, Agent Marvel. But I've realized, and I realized this about myself and then forgot it, because we do that, right, being human. But when I'm playing the game, I'm just more into like painting and doing the models and converting and all that sort of thing. And if I really want, I was having real trouble getting motivated to do Golden Demon. And that's really the only painting contest that I want to go back to, essentially. I got my Grandmaster, and I've won Best in Show at our local con out here. And so other than going over to Europe, I'd like to try Golden Demon one more time. But I wasn't getting very motivated. And I realized that when I was motivated to paint stuff for GD, I was playing the game. I was playing Warhammer or I was playing 40K. And when I do that, I get excited. I get excited about the fluff and the story and doing a cool job and, you know, and all that sort of thing, right? So I've also realized that since we don't have a role-playing game group, I do miss playing miniatures games. I've played miniatures games since I was in college. And I had a long hiatus at various points in my life, but I do enjoy them. I like playing against people and having a social group that's based around that. So, but yeah. So I'm interested again in doing it. I mean, I'm not an army painter in the purest sense of the word, as far as I will never be that. Like, I'm not Richard. I cannot do that marathon of, like, getting the 150 models, like, and doing them very efficiently and doing them, you know, quickly to good tabletop. You know, that's not my goal. My goal is actually to do them to a slightly better, like a better tabletop standard, because I still want to enjoy them. But Tyranids are nice because unlike the Sisters models, which with the Sisters, I may very well do a unit of just normal Sisters for Golden Demon. But they're hard to paint fast because they're very elaborate. So, whereas Tyranids are much easier to paint fast and to have fun with when you do, because you can growl and make monster noises. Right, exactly. Yeah, it is. And it does work that way. It's always worked that way for me if I'm playing a game. Back when we were playtesting with Warlord for Reaper, I was much more interested. Like, it motivated me. Like, and I wanted to paint a group of models, right? And then see how they performed. It's that kind of thing. Because I do like the ideas. I do like building an army and kind of like thinking, oh, what do I, you know, what's the character? Because I'm definitely like one of those annoying people who don't play for, I don't min-max. I play for story. So I'm like, what would be cool units to field today, right? I don't care if they work together. Let's just put them out there and see how they do. That's me. So. But yeah, so it definitely makes a difference for me, for motivation, to be actually playing the game. And so, you know, with the new edition coming out, I figured there's going to be a lot of people either getting into the game for the first time or getting back into the game. And the only problem I might have is, like, everybody wants to paint Tyranids. So, that might be a problem, but we'll see. Yeah. So that makes sense to me, Richard. I mean, you've got them then if you need them, right? If you meet somebody who wants to play. That's not annoying. Yeah, it's the rule of cool. That's totally what I do. It's like, this is a neat model and I'm going to put it on the table even if your cannon can take it out easily. Yeah, it's the new edition of 40K. Yep, brand new. This box that I ordered, Pendrick, is the brand new 10th edition, right, guys? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, 40K gives motivation. Yep. I think it's 10th. I think it's 10th. And when old fantasy comes back, if the rumors are true, oh, I'm in. I need to have a gaming group by that point. I really loved old fantasy. I really did. With all of its faults, I still loved it. Because I like fantasy better than science fiction. So for me... and I like the strategy. I like the tactics and strategy of, like, the particular blocks of units type of thing. 40K is easier, but... 40K is easier in some ways because you don't have these structured rules about, you know, turning movement trays and moving units in a block. But at the same time, fantasy was faster because you had a movement tray and you could move everything together. So yeah. Yeah, we'll see. The nice thing about Warhammer is that the core of the rules stays pretty much the same, so I feel like I only have to learn half of it. All right. Okay. Where are we? We're at, I totally talked myself out of a stream. All right, folks. That's okay because I wasn't sure. Now I need to do a card for her because remember, I was going into this thinking I was doing a different Oh, she already has a card, I bet. Or does she? Nope. Nope, that's Burgermeister. Burgermeister's card. Which I don't need anymore. So Jolie's card is, I'm going to just write down the skin tone so that we know. And then the other skin tone so that I don't forget my mixes. I'll probably lighten this up a bit, this golden one. And we'll go reddish with her shadows. So I'm going to write down what I did. So this is 4-1 tanned peachy. And then this is 4 rosy shadow plus 1 brush. This. There we go. Oh, I guess so. I would know anyway. I don't actually usually put the name of the mini at the top of the card, Pendrake, because the mini stands right on them. When I put her on the shelf, I put the card right under her along with her her banner. So I don't really feel the need to write the name, but I did just for you. So. Yep. It's writing day. I must refocus now from painting to writing and try very hard. If a Warhammer 40k box hits me in the middle of my writing, I must ignore it. I must ignore it and finish the book, guys. That is going to be a huge willpower roll. Big minus on that. Big negative. But yeah, hopefully tomorrow I will be like, I finished the book! Spaghetti arms! Yes. Be strong. Yeah, because I need to get this book out and figure out what I'm doing next. It is hard. And that's a big box. It's going to be heavy. I know what I can do, though. I can game my brain and say, I cannot open the box until David gets home because half of it is David's. Or at least a third of it is David's. He's taking the Space Marines. He won't be here. He's working. He won't be here to save me, Turgeon. And by the time he is here, I should be done with that book. I have 4 solid hours of afternoon time before he gets home, and I should be able to do it. 4,000 words should be enough. The box can be used for strengthening. Yeah, really, they're getting more and more monstrous, Quindy. Like, you will laugh, but it's true. I could probably do, like, presses. We usually do see the mailman. That's actually, I mean, he comes by around 11, so we usually do see him in his truck. But I usually respect his mailman's natural wariness of large dogs and go around. Oh no, Valandar. Yes, thank you. Thank you, everybody. And I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're back on Kathy. Remember, we started putting in the blue. It's looking nice, too. It's looking sharp. We started putting in blue, and I need to put some blue on her hand, the somewhere else. Let's see. So, yeah, we gotta talk again about Kathy and color comp. Yeah, I do have a little bit of a hilt handle there. So I can put a little touch of blue on the back here, and I want to do that. So for sure. And we started base coating the gold as well, so we need to continue that. But yeah, so Kathy's coming right along, guys. She's looking really good. Really good. Hopefully up in heaven, she's looking down and saying, oh, it's not bad. It's not bad, Anne. So yes, Kathy Day tomorrow. Okay, everybody, and yes, remember to support Rhonda when she comes later today. Man, you can see the difference when shading and highlighting is on the skin and when it's not, huh? But look at these two still have very different skin tones, huh? Very different. I love all the different skin tones we're doing right now. But anyway, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming to the stream. Thank you for all of your well wishes regarding finishing the book today. And yeah, I'll be back with news and updates tomorrow. And I hope you all have a lovely, lovely day. All right, bye-bye.